Mistfall Hunter. Dave by Mistfall Hunter by Bellring Games comes out in 2025. Dave, deja vu here, but are you excited about this game?
Xbox wants a Dark Souls.
Aww.
That's cute.
I mean, I guess.
I mean, we touched on this a little bit. Like, I'm okay. I'm excited, but not new Souls like excited because. But spoiler alert, guys, this game is not what you think it is. We talked about this a little bit. Like, this game is not what everybody thinks it is. So this game is presenting itself very much as like a single player, narrative, story-driven, Souls-like game. But it could not be further from that. Like, this is actually a Souls-like RPG that is a PvPvE extraction game.
And so, like, we described this in our original take here. So, like I said, this is a second take. Biggest thing is like Dave said, the trailer of it. So we can go ahead and roll the trailer as we talk about this a little bit. But it definitely presents it that way. But like Dave said, it's a PvPvE extraction shooter. You really have to read the description on Steam, on their website, to really get a sense of what this game is actually about. So it's going to be a extraction shooter that you can play either solo or up to a team of 2 other players. And yeah, so, and really the whole idea of having the team is to enhance the strategy of going in there, trying to extract. And so, Dave, I'll let you kind of describe the trailer here as what we see things.
Yeah, so if you guys are just listening, what we're looking at right now is that, like, the trailer is very much presenting itself as a single player experience. And I've looked through the comments and stuff of all of these videos of all the trailers, people putting them out there, and people are excited for this game, but I think they're excited for the wrong reasons, because people that are getting excited for this game are traditional Souls players like myself who want a very single player driven experience, and that's not what we're getting. But so if you guys are just listening, what we're looking at, I'm getting a lot of Elden Ring vibes, and the reason for that is the story is kind of Elden Ringy. Nothing too crazy on the story here. So basically, what they're saying is, in the wake of an epic war between gods, all deities have fallen. Their blood has turned into the Gyldenmist, which acts like a plague to drive people mad. Bloodborne. There is also a main female protagonist that we see a lot in this trailer. Her name is Dew, and she has the power to resurrect fallen heroes and grant them immortal bodies. Melina in Elden Ring.
And sorry. I didn't hear that.
Yeah. So, I mean, other than that, there's not really too much story-wise going on. And the sad thing about this is, like, it looks really good.
Yeah.
I just don't know how this is going to translate into playing with friends, because again, guys, we're looking at the trailer right now. Like, I can't tell any parts of the trailer that are PvP.
I haven't seen it yet, but I think maybe this moment here where there's some fights going on where they just froze the play, or like the other characters, I think that had a little bit of PvP.
Like,
but
a
yeah,
second
I think it's
character
definitely
off to the side or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Or this might be PvP. I don't know. I think part of it is PvP, but I think it's really showcasing the work together as a team, to be honest, with a lot of these parts. Like, this boss battle definitely looks like it's going to be a PvE situation with your team, because there's other 2 characters around him, and I think that's that 3-player co-op. And what I think it's going to happen is there's going to be sections where it's PvP, kind of how it is in, like, The Division. You know, I love The Division. There's a specific spot where you can go PvP, and then the rest of the game is PvE, and I wonder if that's going to be how it works, or there's going to be an element of both in both, like, different areas. I'm not too sure on how it's going to work, but I know Dave says this game isn't what he thought it was, but for me, I'm not a Souls-like player, but this is a game I think that could really get me excited to play with Dave, because 1, I like PvP, and I like extraction shooters, and 2, Dave and I don't tend to agree on many games that we play.
But if you haven't noticed.
Yeah. But for this, I think it's going to have the elements that Dave is looking for in a way that we can share it together in a sense that I like. And To me, Dave, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the combat and the fluidity of the game seems like it's pretty like well put together. Like from some what I see, I feel like it doesn't look too clunky. Well, you can't really say until you get your hands on, but I don't think it looks bad. I think it looks really good actually.
I think the combat system looks really good. Now that we talked about this before too, there's one scene in the trailer where that guy was kind of like kneeling down, and the other guy was kind of over top of him, just bashing him. And that one little tiny section, if you really look at that, kind of looks maybe a little janky, like the hitbox wasn't registering or something like that, because there wasn't there wasn't any impact on those hits. But outside of that few frames, and again, guys, this game is not coming out anytime soon. This is 2025, so they have time to fix all this. But the rest of the combat system does look very Dark Souls, and I think that's why it's being such a great like mirage as a Dark Souls copycat. Is it just looks really good, and then like the dynamics of the combat system, like the setting, the lore, the color grading, like everything points to this being a Dark Souls like copycat. But it's just, you like Adam said, you got to read between the lines, and you really have to kind of like you, you really have to read the description to know what this game is going to be about. I'm like I said when we started this off, I'm excited for the game. I think the game is going to be good, and like Adam said, this is a game that kind of merges both of our worlds, where we actually have a game that we might really be excited about playing with together. So in that aspect, I'm excited for the game. And they do say that you can play solo. So you can solo or team up with two other players if you want. But if you're looking for that, like, very story, next level, next level, next level, that's not how it works. Like if you've never been in any type of extraction game, you got to read between the lines and know what you're getting yourself into, because extraction games and Souls like story narratives are totally different.
Right. And that's I do have a question, like how do you think, so it has some lore behind it. Now, how are they going to merge that lore into the extraction component? Like into the story? Is there like a specific story that this game has that it's going to kind of progress as you go through? Like what do you think?
In the concept of what the game is, it feels like it needs to have a continuous story, right? So like that's part of the reason why I was like, this game is not what you think it is, because I don't know, like it can have a continuous story, but maybe the story really isn't like the focus. You know what I mean? Like maybe it's not maybe the story isn't as intricate or like as important to the actual gameplay as we think it is. How it typically is in a Souls like.
If it's anything like the Division, in the sense of like how it works is you have your main base and you run out into the world, and there's specific missions you can do, and when you like walk into that mission area, that's like the story of it, and like there's little dialogue when you complete that story. And so I wonder if that's how it's going to work, is really like a Division aspect of like however you have the world. I don't know, that I think it's going to be something like that, where the Division, you walk into a mission, you complete that mission, and like you progress the dialogue, and then the section that you go PvP is you just trying to get the best loot, fight against other players, and get out.
Is the main like story kind of that single player narrative, and then the PvP is almost like bonus content, where it's like you can jump in PvP, or you can jump in PvP at the end and like maybe hunt for like some special treasure or something that you would only get from that section of the game, but in the confines of the actual story, like maybe it's not that important.
What I think is actually going to suck about this game is Souls likes are so hard already. And imagine like you go into a PvP match with the thought of like losing your best loot, because it's an extraction shooter, so you die, you lose it all. And so that's what I'm kind of worried about. And like Souls likes are so hard, and like imagine like bosses are hard, but there's some very sweaty, very good Souls like players out there that can just tear a boss apart like this. And so my fear is I'll get stuck against one of those guys with some, oh, I love this sword, or I love this shield, or this bow. And I go in there and 2 seconds it's gone. And then my 15 hours of trying to get it is to waste. So that's what I'm worried about as well.
Yeah, I mean, and we talked about this a little bit too. It's like, just like Adam said, like Souls likes are hard. Adam has literally sat there and watched me die to the same boss like hundreds of times. And think about like you're going into that battle and you have a bunch of good loot and a bunch of stuff that you don't want to lose, and you're going to lose it. You're not gonna one shot every boss in this game, and like one shotting every boss in a Souls like the first time you've ever seen it is just incredible. And then also like we've all been there, man. Like we've all been playing Souls, and it's like guy who's gonna murder your face 743 has invaded your world, and you're like shit. Like you're just like I'm not ready. I'm not ready to PvP right now. Like I got things going on. You know what I mean? So like I don't know. It's a very interesting idea. It's something that I think that can work, but I'm also curious to see how this is going to work and how frustrating this gets.
Yeah, that's my thing is I really hope there's a way to. I know people are going to say just get good or put the hours in, but I really hope to see that there is a PvE only section where you can not, or like you don't have to worry about losing to somebody that is leaps and bounds better, or if there's going to be a what's the argument we had not the other day, uh a skill like rating, what is that called, balancing.
Oh, like a tier.
Skill based matchmaking. If it's
Yeah,
gonna have skill
skill-based
based
matchmaking.
matchmaking, I wonder if it's gonna be something like that or it's just random. But I'm really curious to see how that's all gonna work. It is cool that this game has various classes, so you can like different classes can work together to strategically fight different bosses and different players. So those classes are mercenary, sorcerer, black arrow, shadow strix, and each all will have their different weapons and traits. And it's cool that they say that you'll be able to switch seamlessly between weapons in battle, which isn't always the case for Souls likes, right? You get to go away and equip it, switch it out, and things like that. So that's really cool. And Dave, I know at least one of these is Black Arrow, and that's a bow and arrow player, I would assume. So what can you tell us about the other ones? What do you think what the other characters are?
Yeah, so Black Arrow obviously is going to be your bow and arrow character, the one that Adam will be maining 1000%. Mercenary, I think that's going to be your strength build. Sorcery obviously is going to be more of your magic kind of stuff like that. But the one that's really kind of interesting to me is the Shadow Strix. We were talking about this a little bit. This one almost feels like a stealth, like Assassin's Creed kind of vibe, which I've never seen done in a Souls like before.
Maybe I'll struggle to pick between the two because I love I love stealth games. So if I could do a stealth bow and arrow character, that'd be kind of cool.
That would be sick because we saw it in the trailer with like that section where they drop the smoke, like the Batman smoke, like the you know what I mean? And they even had like, I don't want to like throw shade on it, but they even kind of had the hood, like a little Ezio hood going on, and you saw him like jump down. So it's like, there's a possibility that this is a Souls like that has like an Assassin's Creed style character in it, which would be very, very interesting to see the dynamics of that.
Or it's gonna have like a teleport, kind of how like Noob Saibot does when he like jumps into the ground and all of a sudden he's behind the enemy character. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not too sure, but it's going to be very, very interesting to see how that dynamic kind of works.
Overall, I think the game's gonna play well. I think it's going to be tough to convince new players to come into a game that's PvP Souls-like because of how big a skill gap there is going to be for somebody like me versus somebody like you. I would expect going into a Souls-like, Dave, and I'm facing you, that I'd get destroyed. So
I mean, that's the beauty of it, though, dude. You don't have to get destroyed because you're on my team.
That's true. So me and Dave versus the world, we're taking you down.
Getting ready.
I'm Dave's meat shield, and yeah, I'm Dave's bullet shield. I take all the bullets. I'm his flak jacket. Is that what they're called?
Nope. You said meat.
Yeah, I did say meat.
Yeah, you did. You did indeed.
But any other closing thoughts on the game, Dave, that you have?
I mean, I think the game's gonna be really, really interesting. Like we talked about, it's a little bit of a kind of Souls-like ripoff in some aspects of the game. Like your mission is to harvest the Gylden blood and save humanity, Bloodborne. But other than that, I think it's totally fine. The classes I like, I think are very interesting. Basic stuff that you would expect: skill trees, modifier stacks, armor, things like that. I think the game is going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be a very interesting idea, and I am curious to see how this is all going to kind of come together. Because I'm going to be honest, this could either be like, oh my god, this worked. Yeah, this could either be like, oh my god, this idea is incredible, or oh my god, this idea does not work at all.
We will see. Again, I'm really curious about this. I'm curious on how the loot in Extract is going to be. They claim it to be a high risk, high reward situation. If you die, you lose everything. So if you put 40 hours into this game and all of a sudden, bam, you're dead, that's it for me.
Rip.
And I know people really like that aspect of like the thoughtfulness of like you have to like be more tactical and really protect yourself and methodical of how you play the game. Very similar to Escape from Tarkov or DMZ of Warzone or Division 2. Like you have to be methodical. You have to be careful if you have good things you don't want to lose, or just don't take them in there if you don't want to lose them. But other than that, that's all I got for the game. Dave, this is or let us know in the comments. Are you excited about this game? Mistfall Hunter comes out 2025. It is by Bell Ring Games. I can't remember. Is this their first game?
First title.